Hello, very good morning to all the students. Welcome you all in the class of Financial Management. Let me share my screen and begin the session without wasting much of time. I hope my voice is audible. A confirmation, please. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, guys, so we were there into working capital management. We had seen the introduction of it. We have come to know that working capital basically means current assets if gross working capital word is used, and if net working capital word is used, then it basically means current assets minus current liabilities. Now, management of current assets and current liabilities is something for which no one will come to your rescue, because rest every other core areas of finance, you may take the help of experts, you may take the help of people who are there into that industry, because those activities are not very frequent activities, like gathering the long-term sources of finance in capital structure, taking the investment decisions by using the capital budgeting evaluation techniques, taking the dividend decisions as well, whether to pay, not to pay. Those decisions are not taken very frequently. Once in a year, you may have to take those decisions. But working capital management is something which takes place on a day-to-day basis. Only a person who is owning a business is liable and responsible to manage it. Obviously, he may delegate his authority and responsibility, but the primary responsibility of this lies with the owner himself. So working capital stands for current assets minus current liability. If nothing is given to you, you will assume the working capital to be net working capital. Just a second. Is my voice still audible? अभी भी मेरा आवाज सुनाई दे रहा है? कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, राइट? Okay, thank you. So what do we mean by this current assets, sir? Current assets stands for all those assets which are expected to be realized in the normal operating cycle. Now, what do we mean by the normal operating cycle? We'll come to that. Those assets are primarily held for trading purpose. It forms a part of your day-to-day business. On a regular basis, you interact with your suppliers, you create the creditors. On regular basis, you may have the outstanding expenses payable to various stakeholders, varying from employees to loans and borrowers in terms of interest, or so many other sort of expenses. On day-to-day basis, you do the sales, so there will be debtors. On day-to-day basis, you may have the bills payables. On a frequent basis, you may have the cash amount which you will have to keep intact for maintaining the liquidity in your operations. So they are part of your normal operating business, held for primarily a trading, expected to be realized within 12 months. If they are more than 12 months, then you cannot call them the current assets. They may be called non-current assets as per the accounting terminology. Current assets can be classified as current assets only if they are expected to be realized within just 12 months. It is non-restricted cash or cash equivalent. When I use the word cash equivalent, that means it also includes some of the assets which may be realized in cash within a very short frame of time. Some marketable securities may be there. You know, this inventory you possess, you have kept it just to sell it to other people, right? So you'll be able to realize the cash very quickly from it. Similarly, the receivables in form of debtors you have, you'll be able to realize the cash very quickly from it, obviously based on the credit period you have allowed. And cash equivalent also includes some short-term marketable securities like treasury bonds. You may have something called commercial papers having the maturity of very less number of days. Prepaid expenses are also a part of the current assets. Now, normal operating cycle, I'll come to that within just few minutes to come. Current liabilities, similarly, those people to whom you are supposed to pay the money is the outstanding money on you, and you record it as your liability in your financial statements. Expected to be realized within the normal operating cycle. Primarily held for the purpose of trading. Creditors are created for the purpose of trading, right? For the purpose of business. That too, normal operating business. Expected to be settled within 12 months. Same. Some examples you may say like trade payables, which are basically the creditors, the suppliers to whom you are supposed to pay the money. And here bills receivable is wrongly used. It must be bills payable in this case. And then it come outstanding payments like wages and salaries and all sorts of expenses for which the payment is yet to be done. Now this working capital may be classified into two types. One is on the basis of value, another one on the basis of time. On the basis of value, gross working capital stands for the total of current assets. Net working capital stands for current assets minus current liabilities. Permanent capital is a kind of a capital which you want to keep intact throughout the years, because that is the bare minimum requirement of the working capital you should have in form of cash, in form of other current assets. But every business faces some cyclical flows. So cyclical flows happens and pattern happens in every businesses. Some seasonal upward and downward movement will always take place in the sales amount, right? Specifically those people who are dealing in some commodities and marketing yard. If some of the students are there whose father is working there in a marketing yard, they would be able to know that how the working capital requirement fluctuates on a seasonal basis. ઘઉંની જ્યારે season હોય ત્યારે એ પ્રમાણે વધારે working capital જોઈએ. એવી જ રીતના હરેક commoditiesની season આવતી હોય કે જ્યારે એનું production સૌથી વધારે થતું હોય તો ત્યારે થોડુંક working capital અને cash વધારે જોઈએ. So the bare minimum capital you require is called as the permanent capital, and the fluctuation you make in the working capital on time to time basis is called as the fluctuating capital, or it can also be called as the temporary capital, temporary working capital. Okay. Then the next question arises that, sir, what should be the optimum working capital? You are saying that keeping too much of capital is also dangerous. You have also said that keeping the inadequate capital is also dangerous. Then what should be the strike of balance between the two? Well, there is no such defined parameter to say that this amount of working capital you should have. Industry to industry, company to company, country to country, it may differ. So there is nothing like optimum working capital. But yes, we have some yardsticks which are generally followed by people. Obviously, you will have to do some adjustments based on the industry the company is belonging to. But those yardsticks are, first is the current ratio, which should be 2:1 in optimum. That means current assets divided by current liability. That means your current assets should be at least twice of your current liabilities. If it is more than that, then the interpretation of that is your cash is too much into your current assets. That cash is blocked and you lose some opportunity of blocking the cash. We are aware about the time value of money, earning power of the money. Just imagine if your too much of money will be blocked in current assets in the form of, say, debtors, customers, then you are losing the opportunity to earn the interest if you would have invested that money somewhere in investment avenues. अब तो सेविंग बैंक में भी लोग 6-7% का इंटरेस्ट देने लगे हैं. फिक्स डिपॉजिट और सेविंग अकाउंट में कुछ फर्क ही नहीं रहा. ये कोटक महिंद्रा वाले 5.75% इंटरेस्ट सेविंग्स अकाउंट देते हैं. So if you have too much of working capital blocked, then also there is a problem. You cannot afford to keep too much of cash idle as well. So if the ratio will be too high, no, it's problematic. If ratio will be too low, then you may face the liquidity crisis. कोई बोले चाय पीने जाना है, हाँ सर जाना है, लेकिन पैसे वो तो नहीं है, तो एक काम करता हूँ, मेरे पास 1 बीघा जमीन पड़ी हुई है, उसको बेच देता हूँ. करोगे ऐसा? सर ऑटो में जाने के लिए पैसे नहीं है तो फास्ट ट्रैक का वॉच मैंने सेल कर दिया. करोगे ऐसा? नहीं करते. Why? Because we don't liquidate our fixed assets to satisfy our temporary requirements. But if you will not be satisfying the temporary requirements, then you will be making the default in the payments to various creditors, various suppliers. That will also damage your reputation, right? So inadequacy of the capital is also something that should be looked upon. Another thing is those businesses which may have the seasonal patterns. So sometimes there may be a price fluctuations, in the prices of their commodities and various goods. So when the prices of the goods are low, at that time you want to keep the storage of those goods as much as possible. Then if you have some additional idle cash available at that time, you will be able to take the advantage of that market situation. Otherwise, that opportunity will be gone. So there are always benefits and disadvantages of maintaining the cash and not maintaining the cash, or I may say working capital, in fact. So both of these situations are dangerous. It's purely up to you that how much of working capital should be maintained so that the businesses will also be running very smoothly. We will also not be missing any opportunities if we'll be finding in terms of price fluctuations, and will also not be facing any liquidity crisis. And it shouldn't be too much that we lose the opportunity to invest it somewhere. So this every problems needs to be striked off. 2:1 is the current ratio. Acid test ratio is basically a slight modification of the current ratio. From the current assets, if you reduce the inventories, which is basically the stocks may be of raw material, maybe of work in progress goods, maybe also of finished goods. So if you reduce that, and then it becomes quick assets. Now that quick asset is also called as the acid test ratio, that is 1:1. That is the optimum ratio which companies should try to maintain. I'm saying that, but it is not applicable in the umbrella fashion to everyone. You cannot have every company under the same blanket. So depends on industry to industry, company to company. Now, quick assets are basically those kind of assets which may be realized in cash at your will. So only inventory is eliminated from the current assets. The reason being, inventories cannot be realized in cash at your will, because that depends upon the requirement of the customers, how they place the order, their demand requirements and their timing requirements. So you cannot sell your goods at your will. But yes, even the debtors may be converted into cash if you give some rebates and discounts to them. So that may be quickly realized into cash, if you are willing to do so. So quick assets eliminates just inventories from the current assets. Rest every sort of an assets will be taken over there. One more thing, prepaid expenses, which are also forming a part of your current assets, should not be taken in the quick assets because prepaid expenses cannot be realized. No, जिनको पैसे पे कर दिए उनको तुम जाके नहीं बोलोगे कि एक काम करो यार भूल से पैसे पे हो गए वापस दे दो, बोलते हो ऐसा? जो हो गया वो हो गया, भले एडवांस में हो तो एडवांस में हो। वो अकाउंटिंग ईयर में वो पैसा फॉल नहीं करता, वो दूसरे अकाउंटिंग ईयर का, आने वाले अकाउंटिंग ईयर का पैसा आपने अभी दे दिया, उसे ही तो कहते हैं कि प्रीपेड एक्सपेंसेस फॉर्मिंग अ पार्ट ऑफ योर करंट असेट्स, that should also be eliminated in the calculation of quick assets. So inventories and prepaid expenses are removed. Okay. Then what do we mean by this term called working capital management? Well, it includes two things. One is maintaining the adequate working capital so that it won't be too much as well and it won't be too less too. That's the first part. And second one, in case of some shortfalls, the financing of that working capital, for which we have got the various ways. So you must have heard about the cash credits, bank overdraft facilities, some short-term money which you may raise from various other securities. Some factoring agreements may also be entered. We'll see those sources in detail in some time to come. But financing is also something which affects your working capital. You know, if you have good sources of finance, then you may afford to have less amount of working capital blocked, because you know that at any point of time when we'll be facing the liquidity crisis, we can arrange it from various other sources. So factoring is basically a kind of arrangement between you and your agency in which you just sell off your debtors. So say debtors are 1 lakh rupees and you sell off your debtors at 98,000 of rupees to one agency. Now that agency will be responsible to collect it in a timely manner, obviously whatever the time period you have allowed to your debtor, and they will take their 2,000 rupees of commission. I'm just taking a very layman kinda example. It may involve various other complexities. Then 98,000 will be returned back straight away to the company at this moment. If this 1 lakh rupees would have been blocked for say 2 months from that company's perspective, then they would have lost the opportunity to earn something from that 1 lakh rupees, specifically when there will be demand in the market for their goods and services. So now if they have got 98,000 and if they will be employing that in a business, it may earn even more than this 2,000 which they are paying. Sometimes business gives you much more than what you are paying in terms of fixed commissions and brokerages, you know. तो possibly आपको 98,000 के 1,05,000 भी हो जाए 2 महीने में. So still you are in a profit, no? You are supposed to get only 1 lakh rupees against which you are getting 1,05,000 rupees. So you have won 5,000 rupees of profit by entering into this agreement of factoring. But that is applicable only if there is enough demand of your goods in the market. So there may be financing requirement too, cash credits may be taken, that is also forming a part of working capital management. So when someone says that what is the working capital management, it includes two things: maintaining the adequate working capital, and number two, financing the working capital. ओके, एम आई एडिबल अगेन? ये मेरे में पावर ऑफ हो रहा है, कोई थोड़ा सा, हाँ फिर से ऑडिबल है ना? थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू. So let's go to determinants very quickly. Will not be giving you much explanation on this because you may do it on your own too. When I say determinants, that means these are the factors which influences your working capital decisions, which determines that how much working capital you should have. One is cash. Obviously we people are aware about it. There are advantages and disadvantages of holding a good amount of cash. So always your task will be to strike off the balance between the two. Too much of cash is also dangerous because you are losing the opportunity to invest it somewhere. So opportunity cost is there. And too less of cash is also dangerous because then you will be missing some opportunities if they will arise in the future in terms of price fluctuation of your goods. Then it comes the inventory, how much level of inventory you want to maintain and keep. Another thing, the kind of systems you follow for your inventory management also affects how much working capital you should keep. Like some people maintain the just-in-time approach where the inventories are placed into production right at a time when they are required for a production. So there is no stock of raw material maintained. The order of raw material will be placed only at a time when it will be required in a production. So it's bottom to top kind of process. First you get an order from the customer and accordingly you require some planning for your production, and accordingly you will say that how much raw material you require, and that order will be placed on the immediate basis. So just in time approach. Economic order quantity. So these are some of the inventory management techniques. Economic order quantity basically is one mathematical equation which minimizes your overall cost of holding the inventory. So you have got two types of cost for the inventory. One type of cost is that when you place the order, then you have got the ordering cost. Obviously, for placing the order, some ordering cost is to be incurred, right? Many number of times there will be a transportation of goods, and many number of times the petrol and fuel expenses will be incurred. So there is ordering cost as well. Possibly you may have to pay some tender cost as well to your supplier as and when you are placing your order. Another type of a cost related with the inventory is the holding cost. First is ordering cost, another one is holding cost. Now what happens in the holding cost is, say you place less number of orders, then you will have to maintain more number of quantity at your go down, right? And more quantity you are holding at a go down, that means more amount of cash will be blocked in that assets. Now more amount of cash blocked in the assets, that means more amount of opportunity loss you have. Another thing is that to maintain the higher quantity of current assets, you will also have to keep sometimes the storekeeper, the additional go down requirements may be there. So holding cost and ordering cost are both are inversely proportional in nature. If you try to reduce the ordering cost, then the holding cost will be too high, and if you try to reduce holding cost, then ordering cost will be too high. Say you are holding very less amount of quantity as a stock, then what will happen that you will have to place the order many number of times, right? As and when there will be a requirement of the stock. So ordering cost will be too high. So striking of the balance between the two by using one mathematical model is a concept called economic order quantity. So if the companies are following that management technique, then again the working capital may get affected. Receivables. Now on receivables there may be some market practices. You will have to take care of the competitive environment too. सर मेरे को तो कोई क्रेडिट नहीं देना है, लेकिन भैया मार्केट में हर कोई देते हैं तो फिर तेरा सेल्स नहीं होगा. सर मेरे को तो 20 दिन का क्रेडिट देता है. अरे भैया मार्केट में सिर्फ 2 दिन का ही क्रेडिट लोग दे रहे थे, तुम्हें 20 दिन का क्यों देना है लोगों को? 2 दिन से अगर तुम 4 दिन भी करोगे तो भी तुम्हारा सेल्स हो रहा है. देन एडिशनल 16 days of credit days you are giving are just waste of time, and you are holding too much of debtors. You are losing the opportunity to earn something on it. So receivables also affects your working capital. The availability of short-term financing options. मुकेश अंबानी भाई के पास ज्यादा होगी अवेलेबिलिटी, चंदूलाल भाई साहब के पास कम होगी. So it also depends that in what quantum and what sources of short-term financing options available to you. And if they are available in plenty of manner, then obviously you may afford to have less amount of working capital too, because you know that if some crisis will arise, you will be able to finance it by those sources. Nature of business also affects your working capital. For restaurant businesses, many of the goods are perishable in nature, cannot be stored for more than 3 to 4, 5 days. So on a weekly basis or on a daily basis in some occasions, you purchase the various vegetables and commodities to be used in your business. So working capital requirement is also very less. और मैंने तो अभी तक सुना नहीं है कि कोई रेस्टोरेंट में बाकी पैसा रखते हैं. रेस्टोरेंट बिजनेस इज प्योरली बेस्ड ऑन कैश. होता भी होगा जो डेली के बेसिस पे खाने जाते होंगे, तो या तो फिर वो एडवांस में पैसा ले लेते होंगे पूरे महीने का, या तो फिर वो पूरे महीने के बाद पैसा लेते होंगे. बहुत सारी स्कीम्स हो सकती है, लेकिन ज्यादातर बिजनेसेस इन ओवरवेलमिंग मेजॉरिटी दे आर इन कैश. सो ओवर देयर the requirement of working capital won't be much because debtors won't be there, no? Then market and demand conditions. Now sometimes, there will be a too much of demand in the market, so at that time you will also require higher amount of working capital. Basically we call it a temporary working capital or fluctuating working capital. તો જ્યારે ઘઉંની સિઝન આવે તો ત્યારે પૈસા થોડાક વધારે હોવા જોઈએ, તો ઘઉંની બોરીઓ આપણે વધારે પરચેસ કરી શકીએ. as simple as that. टेक्नोलॉजी एंड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पॉलिसीज. किसी किसी लोगों की टेक्नोलॉजी ऐसे कछुए की तरह होती है, धीरे धीरे प्रोड्यूस करती है, और किसी किसी की बुलेट ट्रेन की तरह होती है जो तुरंत ही गुड्स को प्रोडक्शन में से फिनिश गुड्स में कन्वर्ट कर देती है. सो बेस्ड ऑन द टाइप ऑफ technology you have got, that also depends that how much of working capital you should have. Now why the technology matters? Because see, there will be less number of days for production of your goods, and lesser number of days you have for the production of goods, better and better it is for you, because your less amount of cash will be blocked, or the amount of cash that you have blocked now will be there for less number of days. That's why technology also matters. Operating efficiency. Some companies are operating at a very good efficiency, 6 sigma level. उनका waste बहुत कम होता है, damage products बहुत कम बनते हैं. लेकिन damage और waste बहुत ज़्यादा होगा, pilferation cost बहुत ज़्यादा होगा, तो फिर क्या होगा कि आपका working capital भी उतना ही ज़्यादा consume होगा. Price level changes. Now say earlier the alus were selling at 5 rupees per kg, and now the same potatoes are selling at 20 rupees per kg. You are supposed to maintain the stock of say 10,000 kg at your godown on a daily basis to satisfy the requirement of customers. Then how much of stock will be kept on a daily basis? 10,000 multiplied by 5 will be 50,000, right? So 50,000 rupees will be blocked in your stock. But now the prices have reached to 20 rupees and you are supposed to maintain 10,000 rupees of kgs of stock too. Yes, a demand of the stock may get affected a bit if the elasticity of that particular product is slightly more. But in those basic necessity kind of products, even if the prices reaches to some higher level, the demand is not affected much. Because potato is something which is a part of every other sabzi in Gujarat specifically, तो हर एक सब्जी में पोटैटो तो आ ही जाता है. पंजाबी सब्जी में भी पोटैटो डाल देते हैं यार ये लोग, हर चीजों में पोटैटो आता है. मैं बोला गलके के साग बनाओ, तो गलके का सब्जी नहीं सर, उसमें पोटैटो साथ में आएगा, क्योंकि गुजराती लोग नहीं खाते पोटैटो के अलावा. एनीवे, जो भी हो, नाउ यू विल बी रिक्वायरिंग 10,000 multiplied by 20 rupees. So it will be 2 lakhs rupees of money will be blocked in your business. So price level changes also affects how much money will be blocked. Because see, if not 10,000, then you will be at least keeping 9,000 kgs, no? तो लोगों का कंजम्पशन बहुत अफेक्ट नहीं होता प्राइस चेंजेस के कारण. ચાની ભૂકીના ભાવ વધી જાય તો ચા પીવાનું લોકો બંધ કરી દેશે? નહીં કરે, because it's a part of habits of customers, it's a part of necessity. પેટ્રોલના પ્રાઇસ 70 થી 110 ની ઉપર વયા ગયા, તો શું કોઈ દ્વારકા ફરવાનું બંધ કરી દેશે? જવાના જ છે એ લોકો. That's why these people are getting a lot of fund from the petroleum products, because they know it's a part of necessity products. इसके ऊपर लोगों को टैक्स पे करना ही है. I'm not saying that it will not be affected at all, लेकिन वो negligible फर्क होगा. और अगर थोड़ा सा परसेंटेज कम भी हो जाएगा, बट यू हैव गॉट इंक्रीमेंटल प्राइसेस, देन योर प्रॉफिट विल बी बूस्ट. ये व्यापारी लोग कहता है ना कि जब प्राइसेस बहुत ज्यादा होता है ना, उस समय पे धंधा करने का मजा आता है, बिकॉज वो व्यापारी लोग नेसेसिटी वाले प्रोडक्ट में डील करते हैं. सम प्रोडक्ट्स यू विल नॉट बी परचेसिंग व्हेन द प्राइसेस विल बी टू हाई, जस्ट लाइक मोबाइल फोन और सम इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इक्विपमेंट्स और समथिंग. If there is too much of inflation, then you will say कोई बात नहीं, पुराना वाला फोन यूज कर लेते, 2-3-4 महीने के लिए, प्राइस कम होगी तब ले लेंगे. लेकिन नेसेसिटीज वगैरह की जो चीजें होती है उसमें आपको रोज की रोज चाहिए तो आपको लेनी ही पड़ेगी. So you earn higher amount of profits in that cases. Also, these are the various factors which are individually, collectively affecting the working capital needs of company. Now we are coming to this operating cycle period. Before that, I'll just see that what is the timing. Okay, it's 10:24. Fine, we may move ahead. Very, very important concept. Please put the focus as much as possible, guys. Let me take the confirmation that यहाँ तक किसी को कोई doubt नहीं है. The factors which are affecting the working capital, types of working capital, and the practice of working capital management. You are crystal clear about that. May I have confirmation, please? Okay. Thank you so much. Received it from Mr. Jaidev and Miss Hemali. Very nice. Okay, now let's come to analytical aspect. Here is where your role will be to cut down your, or I may say to short your working capital cycle. Now, what is this working capital cycle? First of all, there are two types of cycles as far as the working capital is there. One is operating cycle period, another one is cash conversion cycle. Let me take you very conceptually. You order to your suppliers, you receive the raw materials. Now, not entire raw material will be consumed on a very same day in your production. These raw materials will be shifted to the production processes on a gradual basis. So this raw material will get consumed entirely in your production after 5 days in your go down. So 5 days is basically the raw material storage period. Then these goods are put into work in progress. Now production process also takes its own time. Say it is taking 5 or 10 days more. After 10 days, these goods will be converted into fixed assets. So that is called work in progress period. Say that is 10 days. Then the finished goods are ready. Not on the very same day, the order will be placed by the customer. But if you are maintaining the just-in-time approach, then on the very next day, the order will be dispatched to the customers once it is converted into finished goods. But let's assume that once I have got the finished goods, it will be sold to the customers entirely within 10 days again. So 10 days, the finished goods is remaining in the go down as a finished goods, and then it will be sold to customers. Then say you are allowing the period of 10 more days to customers in form of debtors as a credit period. Because not all the customers will pay you in cash. And if you have the clear policy, then obviously all the customers will take the advantage of credit period given by you. So that is the period allowed to debtors. Now after 10 days, you will actually realize the cash from your inventory. So how many number of days are taken by your inventory to be converted into cash? That is called as operating cycle period. How many number of days are taken by your inventory, that means raw materials, because the first inventory is the raw material, right? Then it is converted into WIP, then it is converted into finished goods. So how many number of days are taken by the raw materials to be converted into cash is called as the operating cycle period, which is basically the addition of all these periods we have taken. So 5 plus this 10 plus another 10 plus this 10 days you have given to customers will be 35 days, and 35 days is basically the operating cycle period. In a layman language, I can also state like in this many number of days, your raw material will be converted into cash. Shorter the period is, better it is for a company, because you will be able to rotate more number of cycles in a year. You will be able to rotate your cash more smoothly if you have this shorter period. So in your production process, the responsibility is to minimize the period of converting that into cash as well. You should also try to see that how you can minimize this period to the optimum level, so that your sales are also not getting affected and the quality of the production is also not getting affected. More and more number of cycles you have, better and better it is to you in a year. If the operating cycle period would be too high, then there will be less number of operating cycles in a year. And if the operating cycle period will be too low, then there will be more number of operating cycles in a year. आपके लिए वो ही बेहतर है to maintain the liquidity. जितना से जितना आपका पीरियड कम होता है, उतना आपके लिए अच्छा होता है. There are few websites where you can see the operating cycle period of various companies on a quarterly basis. I mean, if there are modifications there, then on quarterly basis they update it. You may go to Trendline, you may go to Stockage Web. Over there, you can analyze that how much operating cycle period is there for specific company. On that, you may take the decisions that how fast they are maintaining their liquidity or how effectively they are maintaining their liquidity. Obviously, shorter is better. But in some of the capital intensive industries, like say the manufacturing of a sort of a furniture, the operating life cycle period would be very high, and accordingly, you will be able to rotate only few cycles in a year. That's bad for company. तुम जब से स्टॉक लेते हो और 120 दिन लग जाते हैं तुम्हारे कैश में रियलाइज करवाने में उस स्टॉक को, तो बहुत समय लग गए ना बेटा. नाउ कैश कन्वर्जन साइकिल वो उसके एकदम नजदीक वाला ही है. ऑपरेटिंग साइकिल पीरियड और कैश कन्वर्जन साइकिल दोनों एकदम जुड़वा लगते हैं, बस छोटा सा चेंज है. फ्रॉम ऑपरेटिंग साइकिल पीरियड, if you reduce the credit period availed by you, credit period availed by you, then you reach to cash conversion cycle. Because see, even you have taken the credit from your suppliers, right? So what will be the interpretation of the cash conversion cycle? That is the time period between you pay the cash to your supplier to you realize the cash from your customer. That is the cash conversion cycle. Say you receive the raw material, but not on the same day you are supposed to pay the money to your suppliers. You will pay the money to your suppliers, say after 10 days. So the cash conversion cycle will start from the moment you pay actually the cash to your suppliers. So in other words, I can say the operating cycle period minus the credit period availed by you is the cash conversion cycle. So here we have got, so operating, I'm writing something here, operating cycle period equals to R plus W plus F plus D. But cash conversion cycle will be equals to R plus W plus F plus D minus C. Is it clear? So cash conversion cycle and operating cycle period both should be clear to you now. We'll take few sums of it so that you will be able to understand in a better way. Confirmation please, यहाँ तक सब कुछ clear है? Very good. Very good. So we will just go to now the Excel file, and from which we will start solving the questions. Now before that, let's go to the formula of all of this. You may take a snap of this. Anyway, I'm going to distribute this PPT to all of you. So how do you find the raw material storage period? So average stock of raw material you maintain divided by the average cost of raw material consumption per day. Try to understand it logically. Say you are maintaining the stock of 30,000. Then in how many number of days this stock of 30,000 will get vanished? This is what the raw material storage period is, right? So raw material में आपने 30,000 का स्टॉक मेंटेन करके रखते हो, तो कितने दिन में ये मेंटेन किया हुआ स्टॉक है वो खत्म हो जाएगा, उसे कहते हैं raw material storage period. Now you will be able to know those number of days only if you know that what will be your per day consumption. So say per day consumption of the raw material is 1500 rupees. Then if you divide 30,000 by 1500, you will get the number of days in which your raw material stock will be vanished. So average stock of raw material you maintain divided by the average cost of raw material consumption per day. Now how do you come to know average cost of raw material consumption per day? You will get the raw material consumption amount that may be given to you. That will be divided by number of days in a year. So that will be your average daily consumption per day. अगर एक दिन में 1500 रुपए का रॉ मटेरियल जाता है तो 30,000 रुपए का रॉ मटेरियल खत्म करने में कितने दिन लगेंगे? If one day consumes 1500 rupees of material, then in how many number of days 30,000 rupees of stocks will be consumed? So that will be your raw material storage period. Then average WIP inventory. आपकी जो WIP इन्वेंटरी है, वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस इन्वेंटरी है, विच इज बेसिकली स्टिल इनटू प्रोडक्शन, प्रोडक्शन कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ. It may be at the very first stage of a production, or it may be at the very last process of production. So what is your average balance of inventory which is always there in a work in progress? That will be divided by average cost of production per day. तो आपका पूरे साल का कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन कितना है? उसमें आप डिवाइड करोगे 360, तो आपका पर डे कॉस्ट ऑफ प्रोडक्शन मालूम पड़ेगा. एंड इफ यू डिवाइड द एवरेज वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस by the average cost of production per day, then you will get the work in progress holding period. I'm using the terminologies differently. Here the cost of raw material consumed is taken. Here the cost of production is taken, because WIP are valued at cost of production as per your accounting for costing or managers you may have studied about. When you are preparing the cost sheet, cost sheet in the cost accounting, or I may say the accounting for managers, at that time you just try to refer what was the format you were preparing. The WIP were always valued at cost of production. Then cost of goods sold was taken for valuing your finished goods. So average stock of finished goods you are maintaining in your godown, which is ready for dispatch to customers, that is to be divided by average goods you are selling. So you will be taking cost of goods sold, and that will be divided by 365, or whatever the number of days we have in a year. So you will get the per day consumption, or I may say the per day sell. So that means if you are selling per day 1500 rupees of value of stock, then how many number of days will be taken to consume 30,000 rupees of total stock you maintain? So 30,000 divided by 1500, again it will give you finished goods storage period. Similarly, receivables period can also be found. Average receivables on a day, on an average basis, how much of debtors you keep. Say आपका debtors रहता है 50,000 रुपए. Then what is the credit sales per day? So per day credit sales कितना है? You divide this 50,000 by per day credit sales of say 2,000. Then you will get number of days of your debtors for which your money will be blocked with them. Try to understand it conceptually. तुम अगर 50,000 रुपए के डेटर्स रखते हो और डेली के बेसिस पे 2,000 रुपए का क्रेडिट सेल्स करते हो, तो कितने दिन में ये जो 2,000 रुपए है वो 50,000 रुपए बन जाएंगे? That is the money you have blocked in your debtors. Number of days, sorry. Similarly, average payables to be divided by average credit purchases per day. That will be the credit period allowed by right away be given to you right in the question itself. Average payables divided by average credit purchases per day. Well, so once we'll solve the practical questions on it, we'll be able to get it in better way. And then we'll come to estimation of working capital. So these two numerical questions are pending. One will be the calculation of operating cycle period, and then we will try to estimate the working capital requirements based on the information we will be getting. So that's it as far as this lecture is concerned. I hope you have got the crystal clarity about this. Confirmation, last one please. In exam we are not allowed to move our eyes, मतलब तो इसका रिलेशन यहाँ पे कैसे आ गया? अरे एग्जाम ओरिएंटेड कहाँ पढ़ रहे हैं अपन जयदेव? एग्जाम में तो आपके कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग ही आने वाली है, लेकिन लर्निंग में कोई सेक्रीफाइस नहीं करना बेटा। एग्जाम की तो मैं बात ही नहीं कर रहा हूँ। आई हैव नेवर टॉट टू पीपल बेस्ड ऑन एग्जाम रिक्वायरमेंट्स। अपन जो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड कैलकुलेशंस करते हैं प्रोजेक्ट वगैरह में, ये एग्जाम में पूछे जा सकते हैं? नहीं पॉसिबल है। बट दैट डज नॉट मीन वी शुड हैव एनी सेक्रीफाइस इन लर्निंग। उसमें आपका कॉन्सेप्चुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग टेस्ट हो सकता है, लाइक डेफिनेशन ऑफ operating cycle period, or the difference between operating cycle period and cash conversion cycle, or factors forming a part of operating cycle period or cash conversion cycle. Such kind of questions may be there. Okay, please put your enrollment number as a mark of your attendance. That's it from my side for the day. I'll be taking 2 more sessions and I'll inform you that what time I'll be taking. Thank you, and that will be purely Excel based activity, so please be ready with the Excel file. Thank you.